What's going on, Kings? It's Keefe. In this video, I want to talk to you about raising your self-esteem and the best thing you can do for that. Basically, making yourself more confident in your ability to achieve things in your life and just making it more likely that you will be successful. Now, I was thinking about this yesterday and it just like spontaneously hit me. I wrote all this stuff down. I was like, I need to make a video on this subject because what occurred to me was how valuable trust is. And trust has to do with your self-esteem and it has to do with your confidence. So in life, we can only know and do so much, right? You can only be really good at a few things. Honestly, like people who are really exceptional individuals are still only really good at maybe 5 or 6 things. Most stuff we're completely ignorant about. And so what we do is we rely on other people to handle these things. When you hire an electrician, you trust that the electrician knows what the hell they're doing so that you don't have to know that. And it's the same with other things. Now, what happens if you violate that trust? If that trust is violated, let's say you have a girl who cheats on you, your girlfriend cheats on you, what are you going to think of the next relationship? It's going to affect your self-esteem and your ability to trust the new person in the relationship. Same thing if you feel like friends betrayed you, it's going to do the same to new friendships. You're going to be a little bit more bitter. You're going to be a little bit colder. You're not going to feel like you can trust people nearly as much. Now, this is bad enough when it comes to other people. You've probably seen this. Maybe you've let other people down on something and they don't count on you. And you know how valuable this is because people are all talk, especially in this social media age. You can put some crap on the internet and look a certain way and all this kind of stuff, but it's not real currency in that sense. And so people need to actually see and believe in your word because most people are just talking. So think about this, but think about it from the perspective of yourself. How many times do you violate your own trust with yourself? And what I mean by that is, let's say you say you're going to do something. And, like I said, it's bad enough if you don't do something you said you were going to do for someone else because now they can't trust you. But what about you, okay? What if you set a goal for yourself and you quit on the goal? What are you going to think the next time you set a goal? You're not going to take yourself as seriously. You're going to think less of yourself the same way you would think less of somebody else, probably even worse though. And so every time you set a goal, you're going to keep telling yourself, yeah, but I didn't do it last time. And you're going to stop taking yourself so seriously. And it's going to be almost like if you have like a friend who says, I'll let you know, like if he's going to hang out, or maybe you have a friend that you hit up and you're like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And he says, yeah, but he always falls through on you. And so maybe you still like the guy, so you invite him to whatever you got going on, but you don't expect him to show up. So you're like, okay, yeah, he said that, but he said that like 5 times. He's not going to show up. Or maybe you got a friend who's late to a lot of things. And so you basically almost at that point have to start baking in the expectation that he's not going to live up to his word on time into your invitations to him. Maybe you're like, so you have to honestly think in your head, okay, maybe I want to do this thing with him at 7, but I know that means it'll be 7:30. So you say, let's do this at 6:30 so that you can plan for his inability to keep his word on his time. So you see how that starts to affect, and you have to plan around and you stop trusting things. So it's the same with yourself. You're going to be saying, yeah, but you always say this. I always say I'm going to do no fap, or I always say I'm going to quit smoking weed, or I always say I'm going to get my crap together in this area or do this thing. And we're all guilty of this where we violate that trust with ourselves. And I noticed how radically important it is for me to, if I set a goal for something, to follow through on it to the absolute best of my ability. Because when you don't, you're going to start doubting your abilities. You're going to stop trusting yourself. Imagine that if you actually said something, you internally believed, yes, it will be done. Because you had that much commitment to keeping your word to yourself, to building that self-trust, that you knew if you said you were going to do something, you would get it done. Most people are the complete opposite. They doubt everything that they think that they want in their lives because they haven't established the trust, because they don't take the little things seriously. It's like, yeah, I'll wake up at, 7 o'clock. And then they don't wake up at 7 and they brush it off as saying I didn't wake up at 7. But yeah, the fact that you can't trust yourself on the little things, what makes you think that if you can't trust yourself to do little things, that you can do the big things? You need to keep your word to yourself. So when setting goals, when setting a schedule, make sure that everything you put on there is something you're serious about doing. I used to do this thing with my schedule where I would put down like maybe a few really important things that I knew I needed to get done. And then I would start filling my schedule up with things that I was like, yeah, I should do that. Like, so I'd start adding like read for 2 hours or do this thing or do that thing. It was always these like additional tasks to make me feel busy, but they weren't actually important. And so I wouldn't do them. And so I'd look at my schedule at the end of the day and realize I did like a third of what I was supposed to get done that day, like that I'd said I was going to do. And so then I'm like, oh, well, I don't even take this thing seriously. And then it would progressively get worse. So I focus on every time I say I'm going to do something, meaning it and knowing why I'm doing this thing so that I take it seriously. And then I follow through. And over time, you start to build that self-trust in yourself. You basically have to stop giving yourself outs. And you do that by just continuing to keep going forward. The trust will be built, and then it gets easier and easier. So right now, maybe it's hard for you to even trust yourself to wake up to an alarm. And maybe in 6 months, if you really are putting in this work, you'll be completely trusting in yourself to get a new promotion or pass your exams or start a business or start a YouTube channel or talk to all these girls or get your body right for the first time. Maybe that's one that you've violated your trust on. A lot of people violate their trust on that. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it because it's going to raise your self-esteem. You're going to treat yourself like someone who's worthy of respect, and you're going to get results out of life. Also, it is an incredibly important, if not the most important, currency when it comes to dealing with other human beings. Now, guys, if you got something out of this video, go ahead and give me a like, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss new videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.